A quarta edição desta feira, a maior feira do nosso país em termos de tecnologia e também uma referência a nível regional. Vamos começar hoje com a plenária da UNITEL. Vou passar a palavra agora e o palco ao Sr. José Domingos, da parte de comunicação da UNITEL.
Bom dia a todos. Obrigado, Diramen.
Good morning. Thank you, Diramen. We're here to introduce the first panel of the second day of ANGOTIC. This first panel, I'd like to welcome the participants. I'd like to recognize the chairman of the executive board of UNITEL and administrators of UNITEL and UNITEL Money and the distinguished directors. As I was saying, on this first panel, we are going to have various interventions. This panel is called Everything Goes Through Us. And these interventions will be focusing on the comprehensive vision of UNITEL, its infrastructure and network, emphasizing its importance and impact on the country. So we are going to also look at money, since we're talking about money, how this money project impacts the technological mechanism of real-time integration with partners or third parties. And finally, we are going to look at the vision that has been impacting on the lives of people with the digitalization process and also the financial inclusion. So there will be four presenters or speakers on this panel. And the first topic will be the other network with engineer Cyril Ferreira, who's the transmission engineer, and engineer Gonçalves, who's the director for core and services UNITEL. So they're going to be talking about how to expedite access to digitalization. And then we're going to look at money, practical transition cases with digital transformation, and Gunami Mani, from administrator for UNITEL Money. And finally, the financial administrator, Eliana dos Santos, who's going to be looking at the financial inclusion and digitalization, connecting lives and business. I will now invite the first person, engineer Ciro Ferreira, to the stage. A round of applause for engineer Ciro Ferreira, director of EP UNITEL Transmission. Good morning. Good morning. You're hungry? You're lazy? Well, today I was entrusted to talk about a very challenging task, a very challenging task. So I was asked to talk about the other network, but it is not the competitor network, but it's a UNITEL network. UNITEL network is known as a mobile network. We created this company in 1998. In 2001, we entered into service and we started developing a mobile network to connect Angolans, uniting the Angolans from Cabinda to Cunene. And this network has been growing, and today we are very strong, and I have the obligation to share a little bit about the network that supports the UNITEL mobile network. So I'm going to start with UNITEL International Network. The International UNITEL Network uses what the international submarine systems. We have three submarine systems, Sub-3, Telecom, WAX, and SAX, which are operated by Angola Cables, and UNITEL uses the networks to provide internet services to its customers and allows them to make international calls, roaming, and they use this network. With these POPs, we have developed a different way of optimizing the traffic. Whenever a customer uses www.bola.pt PT, we're supposed to direct this traffic directly to Portugal. If it's Facebook, it goes directly to the United States. So we've been distributing a network that does this work, transmits this traffic from Europe to Africa, and for Africa to Europe or the United States of America or to the Americas, and enables the internet to operate. And part of this work, we started to understand that we cannot have everything outside. So our internet services is able to be distributed into 3 pillars we're capable of using in international circuits, and we've been working to optimize and bring more traffic into Angola. And I'm going to talk about the international circuits, what it's called CDMs and XPs. And CDMs are content network providers that can be located in Angola. And the XCPs, whenever I open a multi-cash express application, for instance, I do not need to go to Portugal, Lisbon, or even United Kingdom, and then able to navigate or to browse. Yes, it's true that everything goes through us, but we have already started to challenge ourselves, and the Angolan state has challenged UNITEL as well, so as to see whether UNITEL could join to the Africa submarine cables. And I'm going to leave you with a brief introduction.
Bem, o TU África é um sistema de cabos submarinos liderado pela Meta. A Meta é aquele provedor famoso que tem aquelas aplicações como Instagram, WhatsApp e Facebook, e está a liderar um consórcio de diversos operadores internacionais e empresas internacionais a construir então um dos maiores sistemas de cabos submarinos no mundo. Este sistema chama-se TU África, ou para a África, tem cerca de 45 mil quilómetros, interliga 3 continentes, cerca de 33 países, 3 bilhões de pessoas e 180 terabits por segundo. Obviamente isto está em curso, esta é a capacidade total. A UNITEL, entrando então neste projeto, conseguiu então trazer um ramal ou uma interligação deste cabo para Angola e traz aqui alguns benefícios, não é? Portanto, nós acabamos por expandir aquilo que é a nossa rede internacional para cerca de 14 mil quilómetros de fibra óptica. Portanto, estaremos ligados com a Inglaterra, em Londres e África do Sul, em Cape Town, diretamente, com uma capacidade de cerca de 23 terabits por segundo. O projeto está ligado, acabou por ser aterrado.
It is connected, just landed in Kakwako. Kakwako is a municipality of Luanda. It has enabled us to do the interconnectivity and the landing of the cable. Now we can say that TU Africa has landed in Africa. The modular station where we are going to do the most complex transmission interconnectivity will enable the services to be activated in Angola. So the landing process took place last year. Here we're showing the information on how the touchdown was done. It's a vessel that gets to our beaches, and then we land the cable in Angola. It was a very beautiful ceremony, and we were able to get this representation at the landing that represents so this was an achievement. We were able to ensure that the cable is installed we were able to modernize, and we have requalified the border posts on the left side so you can see how it was, and on the right hand side that's how we left, because they helped us to do the landing, the submarine cable landing in Kwakwak. In terms of thanks, the state was a critical partner despite they challenged UNITEL to bring this cable to Angola, and we're obviously here and very proud for being able to deliver. Now, many people think that UNITEL only does mobile network, but you may say fiber optic is UNITEL. How so? These are cell phones, right? 3G, 4G, 5G. But reality is that we as UNITEL, we have a different network, and this different network has been built for quite some time. And normally, people that are not aware of the work that has been done, and we are capable of connecting the whole national territory, the 18 provinces, there are 18 provinces now. There's been a proposal to increase the number of provinces, but we have interconnected all provinces over the past 20 years of existence of UNITEL. One of the biggest challenges was to try to connect Cabinda, since Cabinda is somehow physically separated from the country. But obviously, in 2018, we developed a project that would allow us to get to Cabinda via submarine cable. Our capability in terms of network, our fiber optic network interconnects more than 1,022 cellular modes and more than 1,500 companies. I would like to share a short film that summarizes the submarine cable project.
Bem,
Thank you for the possibility and the permission to help serve Angola whenever possible. This was the presentation from Engineer Silva Ferreira, which is the transmission director for UNITEL. We've just heard the topic called the other network. We have the Secretary of State for Social Communication, Nuno Carnaval, whereby we'd like to thank him. Now, let us give the floor to Engineer Julio Gonçalves, which is the Service Director, who's going to be presenting how to accelerate the access towards digitalization. Your attention, please. Good morning, everyone. I do not need to wake up anyone. Everybody is awakened. Thank you. With the videos, I believe that I was able to wake up everyone. I'm going to talk about a very complicated topic. Complicated because it's a vast topic, digitalization. One of those topics that we could be spending the whole day discussing about it. Nowadays, companies, governments compete among themselves so as to see who's better digitalized. We have international bodies such as the United Nations financing digitalization of countries, especially developing countries. And where are we? Where is Angola at this point in time? As it was mentioned yesterday by the Honorable Minister, digitalization in Angola, it's already a reality. And sitting down on your sofas at home, you can already pay taxes, you can already go for shopping, you can call a taxi, you can pay for the food, call a tupuka, you can get into your banks and do transactions, transfer, receive money, or by using UNITEL mobile money, you can actually pay TV, water, electricity, charge your phone. This is a reality nowadays. But allow me to zoom out and look at our reality, at the African reality. Today, we have different challenges before us. The continent continues to be experiencing many challenges. I'm not going to number them all, but let us look at the literacy levels. We have one of the lowest literacy levels in the world. If we are to look at the Human Development Index, where poverty is included, it's also the same. Africa has the lowest levels in the world. And if you are to look at the mobile part, and with a focus on the sub-Saharan Africa, the mobile penetration in 2022 was of 42%, and it's expected by 2030 we'll have achieved 50%. The use of internet is around 25% in 2022, and by 2030 it will reach 32%. So the question is, with the current scenario, will digitalization of the continent, our digitalization in Angola, is compromised in between brackets, or will it become slower? I bring some examples from other realities. And as an example, in China, if a beggar does not have a cell phone, it does not receive money. And WeChat in China charges 80%, covers 80% of the population. And the person who does not have WeChat does not exist practically. And let me just give you an example of an African example in Kenya, where we have 32 users using M-Pesa. 60% of the adult population. We have an identical scenario that of China. Those who do not use M-Pesa in Kenya is excluded somehow from the digitalization. I'd also like to bring you another example, an initiative in Kosovo where the government has launched a program called Code, where they summon all telecommunications operators and subsidize all of them and encourage them, incentivize them to invest in the rural setting and to expand the digitalization coverage or the presence of operators at a nationwide. The result was that 80% of the population was covered, and then a substantial growth of the economy in that country. Well, if we are to look at ourselves, what is the trajectory we are supposed to follow? What activities are supposed to be undertaken in order to get the results such as the examples we've seen previously? The first goes through education. We need to educate our people, we need to educate the population, we need to educate the children on what I would say on digital education. Our children need to get into touch with a computer, with the internet, from early age, from the first grade. And let me just give you an example of UNITEL Code. And we have seen the initial video where UNITEL every year teaches dozens of children in programming, dozens of children to get in touch for the first time, actually, for most of them, with a computer. There are ICT's community centers, and here I'd like to emphasize the government of Angola's initiatives on digital libraries that have been set up throughout the country. And this is a commendable initiative that allows, once again, for most of the population to have access to internet, to have access to a computer. But is all of this enough? I would say no. We have to do even more. Another important aspect, another important trajectory to accelerate digitalization has to do with the supporting innovation and entrepreneurship. And incubators such as UNITEL Go and accelerators such as INAPEM play a key role they have a fundamental role in terms of digitalization of the country. I'd give you the example of UNITEL Go, where most of the startups you see outside went through us. They grew with us. And some of them started very small, and they are what they are today. And they are out there exhibiting and showcasing what they've managed to achieve. The financing to startups is certainly a fundamental aspect to support these very young companies. I wouldn't want to forget to mention the UNITEL Startup Summit, which was held 3 weeks ago. We have 135 startups represented in this space, and they were presenting their business and their ambitions to grow with us. As it's obvious, I wouldn't want to talk about digitalization without referring to the foundations. And what is the foundation? The foundations are the infrastructure. And it was represented by my colleague on our fiber optic.
Hoje o país de norte a sul, de leste a oeste.
From the east to the west, interconnecting all the capital cities, interconnecting all the municipalities. Besides the optic fiber network, we also have to speak about the network of stations, of over 2,000 stations installed nationwide. So we are the only operator that covers 100% of the municipalities of the Republic of Angola. We are present in 65% of 66% of the communes, and we are in the interior areas more and more with local solutions, with solutions that use renewable energy exactly for us to be able to reach the last president in the Republic of Angola. So how can we speed up? How can we expand the infrastructure? Without any doubt, we need to boost what is bandwidth. When we speak about bandwidth, we have to talk about 4G, 5G, and optic fiber as obvious. Fiscal incentives for us to be able to expand 4G network, 5G network, optic fiber network is welcomed. Surely speaking, incentives of the government in covering in national coverage. We saw the case of Kosovo, that's a worldwide example. They are welcomed. Now we build the legs and arms with a optic fiber. We should connect to every house, every hospital, every schools in the country. That's the only way that we'll be able to get there and thus be able to grow the digitalization or to digitalize our country. And as an example, I like to say that UNITEL, and as part of its social responsibility, did some of the actions and connected about 1,000 hospitals and health centers free of charge to support health in our country, support Angola and Angolans.
Não podia, como é óbvio, deixar.
And I would also like to speak about digitalization, and to speak about it, we're supposed to speak about terminals, the mobile terminals that everyone here in the room have, without any doubt. Here, I'll give you an example. In South Africa, they've currently announced that in 2027 they're going to disconnect the 2G and 3G network. And they also announced that from December 2024, they will forbid the operators to activate mobile phone of 2G and 3G. They will be forbidden. So this step, it's a step that the nations in general terms, some more accelerated than others, they should take one of these days. 2Gs and 3Gs, these two technologies were made for you, were adapted in order to make data, but without any doubt, they are not technologies that allow us to dream or to use bandwidth. And if we have to do it, we have to use 5 to 4Gs. And that 4 to 5Gs allows to achieve speed to what we call broadband. And once again, we need fiscal incentives from the government during the purchase and manufacture or boosting our national factory so that we can manufacture 4Gs and 5Gs mobile phone. And if that happens, it's welcomed. But I would like to conclude by stating that there's no formula, there's no recipe worldwide that allows to speed up that digitalization. So the reality of one specific country, what's done in a specific country, necessarily is not replicated in Angola. So us as Africans, as Angolans, we should find our way in order to speed up digitalization. So the only way that will be possible is that together it's possible. Thank you very much for your attention.
Aqui a apresentação feita.
So we listen to the presentation done by Engineer Julio Gonçalves. He's the Director for Core Services, UNITEL, how to speed up digitalization process. Now we're going to listen to Engineer Kola Munabe. He's Administrator from UNITEL Money to speak about specific cases for digital transition. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. I'm Gulam Nabi. I'm CEO from UNITEL Money. It's a company with UNITEL shares in order to provide digital inclusion in Angola through payment services. So I'm here reflecting about the presentation that we made yesterday and today. In the panel of the ministers yesterday, they spoke about a phenomenon that is called infrastructure usage gap. Infrastructure usage gap. That's the effect of having cases whereby there's infrastructure and that infrastructure is not used. And due to linguistic reasons, I'm going to prove that there's digital infrastructure for digital payment in Angola that's not used and how it can be used. So I'm going to make an exercise how we can speed up this use. That's where we test the concept and after we take to the masses. So I'd like to ask for your help. I'm going to ask 3 questions that we'd like to answer by raising up your hand. The first one will be, did anyone here heard about the UNITEL money? Did anyone hear about UNITEL money? Okay, 90% of the people ever heard about UNITEL money. The second would be, who knows what is UNITEL money? Who knows what's UNITEL money? Can you raise up your hand? 90%. Impressive. The last, who use UNITEL money? 60%. So I believe that this is a special room because in Angola, 64% of the population, they don't have a bank account and they don't use UNITEL digital pocket every single day. So what can we do in order for us to improve? I believe that we start by trying to understand what's money. Money is the opening of an account that's trying through a mobile phone without filling up papers. The mobile number is associated to the mobile money. You don't need to have a bank account. The transfer is made instantaneously, and you can use it to buy services. You can use the money in smartphones and apps. So digital infrastructure exists because any mobile phone here can help you to have access to money. Money has benefits for its clients. The account is free of charge. Doesn't have minimum airtime. You can easily do transfer. There's no interest rate charged, and it's easy to use. So, what's different? Here, we're looking at people with a mobile phone in their pocket, probably with access to BuyDirect, Multicash Express, PayPal, and these solutions, I believe that they can do everything that money does. So they're very similar. So money has a small, big difference. Money is not connected to a bank account, and it's for everyone. It's for everyone who have a mobile phone in their pocket or have access, give you access to almost everything that a bank account can give you. Obviously, the number of transactions is more reduced, and after we speak about deposit, withdrawal, transfer to partners. So once again, how can we join money? Through mobile phone, apps, USSS there, self-registration for initial usage, and usage with elevated limitations, so we need to go to the process of registration of the client due to regulatory issues. We've got clients in every province of the country, and we're already in a formal market, and in future we're going to continue working with the informal market. So money was born in August 2021, and from 2021 up to December 2023, 1.8 million Angolans use money, and during this time we've got about 35,000 agents who have been registered and a huge number of transactions that was made through monies. Now I believe that the audience might look at money in a different manner. So we can say that money is for everyone, and we say that, or we do it thinking about the client. So if you have to look at the partners that we classify as being any entity that needs to do digital payment and collection of digital payment and disbursement of digital payment, money is also for all the partners, every type of partner. So it's possible to use money in order to facilitate management and payment real time, even of non-banking clients. Is it possible to do payment in mass with non-mechanized clients? And if you have to look nowadays what is the market with 64% of Angolans, that should raise an alert. It's possible for us to increase the market compared to what we do when you sell a product that can only be made by someone who has access to a banking account. And we've started with this journey. In this slide you can see some of our partners. We have a partner outside, that's Pampa Grill. If I'm not mistaken, they receive payment through money during lunchtime. If you want to use money that you say you use it, so we've got a lunch available and it to be paid via money. And for all the partners, for every partner, solution on collection and payment via money is available for singular, for business entities, and individual business person. Is available for everyone. And for partners, we've got two integration process. With offline integration, that's the simple, and online integration that I'm going to speak about it later. And two moment of integration, they can be used in order to make payment to client through SMS download, VR, and receive the payment through SMS app or web portal. So the integration method that's done offline is the most simple. If I have a company, you need to receive the payment, so it's possible to register money and click on QR code and receive the payment with the client that have smartphone and the app. So if my clients don't have a smartphone, they can use my code so that the payment can be done via 449 card now. So if I've got sophisticated business, if I have to look at the product, if I have to do collection of payment through banking client, I can integrate it in real time with money, as Tupuka does, in order to receive the payment in real time. So online integration is made through API, through various methodology according to the needs of the clients. Integration for the cases of payment for clients to the partners, disbursement of the partners to the clients, and also offers possibility for consultation for transaction or reimbursement management that the client has been making through via money. I do act. We've got a team of software development and they have access to the portal. And in integrated manner, they work in. I can give an example of partners who don't have access to development team. And before this session, for example, Idol Vera spoke to me, and we spoke on how through UNITEL Go Academy we're going to start startup technology certification system so that they can be better integrated in money, and if we can make a bridge between the partners who don't have the technological ability of integrating, and then we're going to open opportunity for the development community to whom we have a good relation. So if whoever want to be part of this project, you are welcome. First of all, you need to negotiate and signing of the contract. You can do it soon after this session. Integration process that way, in 2 months you can be part, and we have the test phase, acceptance, alignment between Intel Money and the partner. So now that we know what's Intel Money, what are the solutions that exist for partners? Here we need to look at what are really the opportunities that exist. And these opportunities are visible in different manner according to the various areas of action in various industries that we represent. So at the audience, I would like to have representatives from supermarkets, distributors, wholesalers, or entities that have difficulty in making collection. So the infrastructure is available, so we need to close the gap of the use of infrastructure. And I believe that at the audience we can have representatives from public or private institutions who have got cases of need to disperse amount to audience who don't have access to bank account, or in different or distant locations. So we can also have banks who provide service to corporate companies who do payment of salary en masse, and for non-banking clients. And now with quick arrangement, this transfer en masse for digital wallet and money in particular are possible. So I believe that I can say that less work. So if anyone want to be a partner, we can talk. If you really use money, our partners Huawei, they've got a stand outside, and with Coca-Cola 50 kwanza if it's paid through money, and we're going to see if 80% of money will buy Coca-Cola at 50 kwanza using money, and I'll be there also. So that was the journey on how money can be used to close that gap on using full infrastructure. But the challenges are a lot, as is usually mentioned. And in the panel yesterday, we also mentioned the need of looking at the problem in a holistic manner, and there are various ways of trying to solve access to digital infrastructure, to the digitalization of the economy. And one of the appeals was to see or make sure that there are basic service on financial inclusion. And to speak more about this, I'm going to ask Dr. Eliana to come to the podium. Thank you. Thank you. Administrator from UNITEL Money, Kulabu Lami. So we are following the first panel of the second day of ANGOTIC, the panel that everything goes through us. To conclude the panel, we're going to listen to the presentation of the financial administrator from UNITEL, Dr. Eliana dos Santos, with the topic Financial Inclusion and Digitalization Connecting Lives and Business. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Secretary of State, CEO, directors, Huawei and Global, and other partners who are present here with us. They're suppliers from UNITEL, they're partners of UNITEL, and it was presented initially by the Director of Transmission, Mr. Silo. That's a very elevated instrument. It cannot be done by one company, and it's a structure that includes Angola as a whole, where we are about 36 million Angolans. Now, if you have to look a bit at the topic that was presented, I would like to talk about investment. But before that, let's look at two videos.
forma mais simples de comprar e de vender também.
Bom dia, Um bolinho.
Não tenho troco, filho.
Não faz mal, tia. Eu também quero. Vou levar os dois. Vou pagar com cartão, já?
Cartão? Também não tenho. Mané está a bater. Tens?
Mano.
Lá.
Torna-te comerciante com o Money. É mais fácil, mais rápido e mais seguro. Entra no site Money e escolhe o menu parceiros.
Este é o Money que nos falou.
That's money that my colleague Gulam spoke about. And you can speak on, you can enter, you can use how you can save money. And during the presentation of Gulam, there's no interest rate charged. So now we are going to make a presentation of another video.
Primeiro clique em pagamentos. Em seguida clique em serviços especiais. Em serviços escolhe Bantubet. Introduz a referência que é o teu número associado a Bantubet. Em produtos escolhe pagamento. Insira o valor que pretende depositar e clica a avançar. E por fim confirma o pagamento.
Como explicou o Júlio na sua apresentação.
Júlio explained you don't need to go to a banking institution in order for us to have access to for transactions, for deposits, for withdrawal. Nowadays with our mobile phone you can do all these operations. So all these operations and digitalization, later on I'm going to show a statistic that has to do with our financial capacity. So a question that was done with Mira, but before I'll tell you a story that when I started working at a Big Four in auditing with people who were trained in the best part of the world from the financial sector. In every month I was always curious with my colleagues because initially when we reached the end of the day they would be worried about if the amount, if they got their salary or not. They would go to the financial sector to know, because they would worry about getting their salary. Yes, their colleagues with a lot of experience and well trained, and one day they called me and they said, okay, we are curious, you earn more than us, than me, because you're the only person who don't ask about the salary. You don't even know about the salary. You earn more than us. And I said, okay, I'm also curious why you always go and ask if the salary was already paid or not. The same situation as you. But we started seeing that we got a mentality of consuming a lot of things. Now, when we speak about financial inclusion, I would like to say that my colleagues at the end of the month, they would go to the ATM machine and to the bank to withdraw money. And withdraw money to pay the drivers. They have a lot of expenses. So, and sometimes it would be unnecessary. Sometimes they would plan the consumption, but they wouldn't plan the saving. So where do I want to go by saying that? Nowadays, when we speak about financial inclusion, we have here through a mobile app you can pay and deposit, and you can use internet, and you can also invest and save as well as transfer money. And as financial officer, as my colleagues spoke a lot about digitalization, sometimes we forget a bit about savings. Even personally, and at the level of the companies, we end up making an investment of finishing everything that we have, and does not bring prosperity for the country as well as personal prosperity. Now, speaking a bit about financial inclusion, is not more than using the financial services so that everyone can use it. So during the presentation of Gulamo, we saw that only 34% of Angolans are financially included. So it means that 66% are not. So this 66%, I was looking for statistic that would be viable. And this is a data that, for me as financial officer, I'm extremely curious because I want to know how much money the informal sector generates. I listen to a lot of data and it's a bit scary. I saw the data of about $900 million per month. I saw the data of $40 million per year. I want to know how this formal economy generates because it's not part of the financial system and that's not possible. But it's important for us to understand that here we've got amount of revenue that the government does not receives. So the market absorbing amounts of money that ends up not having the rigor and what are the good practice on negotiation that sometimes they cannot have the listed criteria that is required, and they end up not helping in the topic of financial inclusion and helping the people. And we also spoke about the importance on financial inclusion and digitalization. As Julian Gulamo stated, in the point of view of improving the living quality of people, UNITEL plays an important role of not only connecting people, but also reduce the lack of resources that we don't have in the 164 municipalities that we have in Angola. There's a notice from Angola National Reserve Bank. Angola National Reserve Bank have been making a huge work on financial literacy, helping people to be aware on making saving, having a banking account, but we've got some basic problems that limit all this process. And if we have to think that 18.5% of Angolans did their high school, and if you think that if there are problems that needs to be worked on, such as the issue on access to ID cards, as Gulamo stated, end up being, we don't need a banking account. That's end up affecting financial inclusion. A study made by Angola people ask why people don't have bank account, and one of the reason was that people don't trust in the banks, and one of the reasons is that of the reduction in geographic location of banking branches. This is a notice of Angola National Bank, whereby we should be present in the 164 municipalities, and that's resulting in high cost and the motivation as well, a mobilization for a capacity that the banks were not expecting. As I said, UNITEL is present in 164 municipality, and in the video that I've shown before, we no longer need to move physically to a banking branch to have access to the services. So it means that together we go further. If you want an inclusive Angola, if you want a prosperous Angola, the bank and telecommunication should work together in order to reduce that. And maybe we might think that 34% of Angolans. It's a reasonable number, and we would say that financial inclusion in Portugal is about 98%, and Portugal is in Europe the level of bankarization is less than 10%. So we are looking at a huge role to cover, and how can we do it faster? Difficult speaking, telecommunication can play a fundamental role, so that with entities such as INAPEN and BNR and the Minister of Telecommunication can make sure that the populations who are in those municipalities or fair municipalities can have access to banking services. So that was a study made by Angola National Reserve Bank, and I was also a bit surprised with these indicators that we have here. And we see that 65% say they don't have a bank account because it's not profitable. This is why I told you this story. People with financial literacy and their trained literacy, because my colleagues from auditing sector were qualified as me, but they end up not having culture of saving, and they say, okay, I've got money in the bank, I can withdraw the money and waste the money the same day. I don't need financial literacy. 65 say they don't have, is not worth it. 13% say that they lack documentation. 7% they say they don't have a bank agency close by, and as UNITEL, we play a relevant role in order to help this issue of not having a close by banking account, and the 5% will say that they don't see any benefits, and others they speak about or they give other reason. And that study was done by BNA and Statistic Institute, and they interviewed about 35,000 households, and correspond to 95%. So the study that was also made by UNITEL money, it was done to 599 clients, and as Gulani asked, from the 9% here, if 9% knows the services, only 6% use it. And I believe that some of the answers are here. 65% of the people say that they don't use, most of them they don't use or don't have interest, and 11% say that they don't know much about the service, and 11% say they don't have time. They don't have time to use mobile money. So it was a quick presentation, and I would like to say that the secret of each fintech is its capacity of solving the problem in a quick manner, in efficient manner, with ability and with low cost. And as UNITEL, we managed to cover this gap on financial inclusion, a gap that's extremely high for nowadays, and nowadays UNITEL plays a fundamental role for this type of services. And I'd like to start by thanking. I'd like to thank all the leaders. We spoke a lot about leadership. I'd like to thank the members of UNITEL who are here. And UNITEL is a big family that works for Angolans in the 164 municipalities. And we're all available to make sure that Angola can have a financial inclusion and prosperity so that the population can also reduce their level of poverty, improve their financial literacy, and be able to have good programs with great social impact, and that they're able to penetrate, have a penetration of about 42% in terms of mobile, and you should take advantage of it and have good results for Angola and for every Angolan. Thank you very much for your attention.
Vamos também agradecer aqui.
I would like to thank Dr. Eliana Santos, Financial Administrator from UNITEL, and I will also going to thank the Administrator from Intel Mining, Gulabo Lamini, and Director for Services, Engineer Julio Gonçalves, as well as Sil Ferreira is Director for EP and Transmission from UNITEL. Also like to thank everyone present, and this was the presence of UNITEL at this panel that we call Everything Passes Through Us. Thank you very much, and have a good working session at ANGOTIC.
Senhores, ao contrário do que está...
So we are going to have a parallel session that is to do with big data and artificial intelligence, a booster for investment and transformation, and the moderator is here, Mario Gelson, to whom I ask for a round of applause.
Ngàn vàng ra mình ít